Hey, welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Cheryl with Tinker's Card Art here. And it is my Monday segment with Craft Round the Clock, as well as you're finding me live on my page here. So we're going to have some fun this morning. I'm trying to clear up my space. I was just recording a class for my art membership. And now I'm taking a little break and we're going to paint a fun little Valentine's card today. So welcome everybody and thank you for tuning in. I love coming to you here on sometimes Monday, sometimes other days, but anyway, we're here now. And so I'm going to show you how you can paint your own Valentine's Day card. And there's nothing better these days with all of email and that sort of thing to get a real card in the mail, and never mind one that is handmade. So isn't that wonderful? I think it would be appreciated by everyone. Hi Tracy, thanks for sharing me in. You're the best. I appreciate it, and I'm so thrilled to be painting with my peeps today. So say hello, you guys, when you pop in. I'm here in Florida, and it's chilly, but I can't even complain. I'm from the Northeast, and they are much colder right now. Hi Lisa, nice to see you again, popping in. So yes, it was 40 something this morning, but for a New England person, that is not that cold. Hi Kathy. So I thought we would do another Valentine's project. I don't know, I have my project from last week here. I don't know if you saw it. We did a little mixed media project last week. I haven't gone back yet to download the video, so I will do that. But we used a little key on there. It was really fun. But we're going to do a card this week. So hi Trudy and hi Michelle. Thank you guys. So fun to paint your own little cards. You could even paint the card or paint the illustration or the painting, and you can also even have them printed up. But I thought it's a nice touch. It's not very complicated, and it's a nice project. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I just buy these packs of cards. It's 25 cards. Oh, actually, this is 50 cards in 50 envelopes. You can buy them in the craft stores and Walmart and different places, I'm sure. And you can just do so much with them. You could do a little mixed media project. You could do a painting. You could just do a sketch, a pen and ink, glue a little fabric on there. And it's great because the recipient they're not going to throw this away. They could put this in a little frame. Wouldn't it be great? So I need to send a card today. So I thought, you know what, we're doing that today together. So just bought the cards. I'm using just ordinary acrylic paints. Craft acrylics, whatever you have. You could do this in a colored pencil. You could take this idea and this design and do it in a colored pencil or something. Sissy, thank you so much. I appreciate it, you sharing out to the other creatives and crafty people. So, welcome. I just need a few colors. So we're going to paint the penguin with the little balloon. And then you can write your own verse inside, or you could stamp something. I know the stamps have a lot of nice little sayings too. So we're going to do that. And the little sets come with the envelope, so you're good there. I've painted up different ones. So this is one we're coming up that I'm going to paint live next week with my art membership group. So we'll get that coming up. But today, let's do this really cute penguin. I'm just simply going to sketch it on. It's not a hard shape or anything like that. And I just give myself a little line that will just kind of be where my penguin's standing. And basically, he's a couple of circles, really. It's not hard. You don't have to draw straight lines and all that. I'm just going to simply give myself kind of like a little oval shape, another little round on top, and these little arms. And it's going to be different. Each one will come out different. This one looks very chubby. And the little heart for the balloon, you can just sketch that, or you can take, I have these little heart-shaped wood pieces for magnets, and usually I'll even just copy that. Oh, West Virginia, Deb, welcome. I love to hear where you're all from. And I'm not going to ask what the temperature is everywhere because we know it's cold everywhere. Hi, Jackie. Thank you, guys. It's great to see such a great group here on a Monday morning. Just popping in to paint. The new year, do you want to just start some new projects and get yourself organized? I felt that way today. It's Monday. It's what did I hear on the news or someplace? It's Blue Monday, or it's considered one of the, I don't know, people kind of get in a funk maybe. But anyways, I think we can have fun and do something together. If you can't be in person with your friends, you could certainly paint or create or anything online. I do that even with my in-person friends. We get together online and paint sometimes. So thank you, Therese. So I really did just do a quick little sketch. Now listen, you guys, if you ever see me working on something and you really need a little tracer and you don't want to sketch it, send me a message and I can make that for you. It's super easy, but I do want you to stretch your limits a little bit and do something. So honestly, I didn't copy it exact. I could have traced it on there, but I just kind of sketched it. So, oh, Ellen, welcome. All newbies, welcome. So I am Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art. If you missed that tiny clip in the very beginning, I'm live on my page, and I'm live in my segment for Craft Round the Clock. And if you are new to Craft Round the Clock, welcome, welcome. If you're not familiar with it, the link is in my description. It is crafting all day. It's so fun. I learned so many things outside my painting realm. So welcome to that. And I just love my fellow creators here and this whole community that has been curated by Tracy, and thank her so much for just bringing us all together. Let's jump in and do a little painting. Now, if I was painting on canvas, I would say, oh, the penguin belly and face is white, so make sure you paint it. But on paper, I can just leave that white, and I can just shade a little blue to make it look like a shadow. So let's just start with our colors. I'm going to paint my penguin first. It's black. I'm going to just use a little round brush and some acrylic paint. You could do this with your Posca markers, a paint marker. You could get your colored pencils out. It can be done in any medium. It doesn't have to be painted. That's just my jam, although I love all the other crafty things as well. So it's just a little bit of paint on a little palette. Very few colors we're going to need. I've got pink, kind of quinacridone magenta, which is a nice dark pink, mixed with white. Beautiful. I can get all the different shades I need. Black, tiny bit of blue that I'm going to mix with white just for my shadows. Oh, and we'll need orange. So let me grab a little orange and maybe a tiny bit of burnt sienna just for the beak and the feet. So a little bit of red brown, which is a burnt sienna, and we'll be good to go. So let me just fill in. I'm going to sketch that face in, and I'm going to just give myself, if I put his little beak right in the middle of his face, then I'll know how to make that little black section of his face. So there. I just gave myself a tiny little guide, and I am going to go in and just paint the black of the penguin, that part of it. So let me know how, oh, Deb, yes, you're cold over there in Tampa Bay. I know, it's chilly, but again, not terrible. The people up in like Pensacola in that area, they're really cold. But yes, so it's a good day to kind of just be cozy and be inside and doing something creative, I find. Thanks, Lois. I appreciate it. Kyla, welcome. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This little guy has a hat on. I didn't even sketch, but we're just going to paint that on. It's something that you really don't want to be too worked up about. Everything is perfect or right. There's no really right or wrong when you're doing painting. Just do your own vision of what things look like. You don't have to have it look like a real, actual penguin. I always make mine a little bit more whimsical and cuter. This guy is going to be, like I said, a little chubby. He's been indulging over the holidays, apparently. But it's not about perfection. It's about enjoying yourself. It doesn't matter what it comes out like. Did you have fun doing it? There you go. That's the important thing. Honestly, because when it comes down to it, it's just an activity, and when you finish a painting or something, you just have a kind of a good feeling. You've accomplished something. And if you look at it that way and not like, oh, what did I come out with, and can I sell it, and did someone want to buy it, and how many likes do I get on and fit on social media, when really, if you were doing a puzzle, for instance, or cooking a wonderful meal or baking, you're doing it because you enjoy it, not about the finished, well, you know, the finished project. I don't know if you'd want my baking, but hi, Charlotte. But it's just the idea of just accomplishing something and doing something for yourself, taking yourself out of the everyday stuff. Because when you're working on something, little project, whatever it might be, you're concentrating on that, and the other stuff is kind of silenced for a little while. And that really is the important part, I find. So I've just painted it really simply. Black covers really well. We don't have to do multiple coats, just his little face, his little body. I'm going to put a hat on him and a scarf, little feet, and I'm going to actually put that balloon in now, just to get that shape. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just take, like I said, have one quinacridone, just a dark pink, and I'm just going to mix it with white to get a different shade. So I don't need to use a lot of colors. You don't, you might want to get started painting and you haven't done it before, but where do I start? I don't want to spend a fortune. You can just buy a few basic primary colors and get started. And when I teach simply, this is a little quicker segment. We're on here, we're going kind of quick, but usually it would be slower, step by step, leading you through the painting. And it's something you can learn to do. It's not something, I know people are born with talent and in all sorts of ways. And yes, lots of people are for different aptitudes. But if you have the desire, you can certainly learn too. So you just got to open your mind up and think, I can do that. So we've got a little heart here. I've got it a little shaded on one side. It's a little bit darker. It's a little lighter on the other side. Just that simple little touch gives it a little bit of a 3D look. It gives it some form. I'm going to make it a little darker on one side. And then I'm going to put a little string, and that way I can have that little penguin holding that balloon. So I'm just darkening up one side. I'm going to lighten up the light side. That's how I give objects form, whether it's whimsical or more realistic painting. You've got your values and you've got your darks and lights, and that is how you're going to make a 3D piece of paper have the image look a little bit like it's 3D, if that makes sense. So I've just brightened up one side, shaded one side. It's real simple. It's not getting into a lot of where the light source is and that sort of thing, because this is just a fun little card, and I'm going to just give a couple of little strokes of white on one side just to make it look like it's a little shiny. Lots of little tips and tricks we can use when we're painting. All right, now I have made this a little different shape, so I'm going to put the string of that balloon, and instead of straight down like it is here, it's going to go over to the edge. And remember, this is something you could certainly use a little marker or a fine tooth Sharpie, a fine tip Sharpie or something for. If you're a little hesitant to doing really detailed areas, there's always little ways. I'm going to show you how we're going to use this gel pen later to make some fine work on there. But I have to just look at my balloon now and just kind of make it down to where this little penguin is holding it. So it's going to just look like it's kind of there instead of being straight up. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be copied exact. If you're following the teacher along or instructor or whatever, doesn't have to be followed to the letter. Use your own, put your input in there and make it your own, and don't beat yourself up if it's like, oh, well, hers was straight, but mine's crooked now. What do I do? Don't worry about it. It's for fun. Okay, a little beak here for our penguin. And I'm trying to look up sometimes and see your comments, and I know if I miss one, I'll come back. So please ask any questions and whatnot in the comments, and I'll come back later and look at that. 16 in Vermont. Wow, Lois, yeah. Ellen, thank you. And so you said you would be shaking, and you know what? That's okay too. And if you're more comfortable, like I say, use a pen or something. And even if this was a shaky line, so what, right? So anyway, I'd love to, I see so many of you here watching, and I love it. And so say hello and let me know if you are new. But just a little chat for you guys amongst yourselves, or in chat in the comments really helps, and I really enjoy reading them afterwards. I'm simply putting in that little triangle shape for his nose. I know you're watching, and sometimes I try to paint upside down for you. I know it's kind of crazy, but you can kind of see see what's going on. And I'm trying to remember. I've got to go back. I've got videos I need to download. I try to download them and then upload them on YouTube and on my page and whatnot. But the holidays, we all know how we all got a little bit sidetracked. So I'll get back to doing a little more of that. Hi Kat, good morning. Nice to see you here. I've been just using a couple of little round brushes. I might go to a flat brush now to put the scarf on, and I need to put a little hat on our penguin's head. So let's just... Now, acrylic paint sometimes can be a little transparent, so sometimes you need two coats. I'm going to try to paint pink over black here, and it's going to be requiring a few coats. So no worries, acrylic dries quick. If you need to speed it up, you can with a hair dryer, blow dryer, or a heat gun or something. It's just a little bit of patience. So I'm just putting where the scarf is going. I think my black is a little bit wet, so it's spreading, but that's all right. I want it dark underneath anyway. So I'm getting it placed. And I'm not even sketching that, I'm just placing it. I'm using a little flat brush. It's right about the right size for the scarf, the width of the scarf. I got a little bit of a knot there, and then it's kind of fun just to look at just a little stroke, just a little pressure, more pressure, let it go, and you've got like this just little shape for the scarf. So the hat, let's do that too. Got a little knit hat, which is appropriate today, even down in Florida here. I see people with their mittens and their hats on. So I'm putting a little knit hat on our penguin. And a little pom-pom on top. So everything, all the elements are pretty much painted in. We're going to do the eyes now. Just little dots, super easy. And I will erase my little pencil lines later. I kind of like cannot wait to get the pencil lines out of there now, but I will wait because I know I will smudge my paint if I attempt to do that now. So, hi Linda, hi Kathy. Thank you guys so much for popping in. I was just watching Deb before me from Secondhand Treasures, and she was doing a great project. It's such a nice community, and those of you that have been here for a little while know that, how much fun we have with things. All kinds of creations. I'm going to actually put a little wash. I just been painting so far, painting in the color solid. If it needs another coat, letting it dry and putting another coat. But we use a little wash technique sometimes, and I'm going to use that to shade on the face a little bit and the belly. Give him a little belly button, and then a little shade. Just see the little soft line where he's standing, the soft lines where the shading is. It's not a harsh painted line like we've been doing. I'm going to use a brush that might be just a little damp. I have to get a little bit of a light blue mixed up. Let me just do that. I'm going to mix up a little light blue here. A lot of times I will just use the basic colors, like this one blue I pretty much use for everything. I mix it with other colors to get other shades. And it is fun to have all the colors in the jars as well, and they're fun to buy, but I just couldn't find this color I wanted, so it's so easy just to mix the colors. So I'm going to use this little pile of lighter blue paint for that wash, and then for a little bit of highlight on the black. I don't paint with black a lot. I usually use a Payne's Gray or make my own grays, dark blacks, but black is such a dark color. And I paint very colorful and whimsical, but sometimes you need black, and the penguin needed to be black, so I'm going to lighten that black up using a little bit of blue after. But right now I'm taking that little, just a flat brush, I've sort of just dampened a little bit. I'm going to grab just a little bit of the blue just on the corner of that brush, maybe pat it out a little bit on my palette so I can get a soft little line. So I'm going to just go down along where the ground would be, and you can see it's just kind of like a washy line there. Same for a little shading on the face, in the white part of the face. So I'm just going to do the same brush. I haven't even put it down yet. I'm just going to get a little of that blue on the outside edges here. Maybe along the scarf. I'm going to be careful not to try to get into that pink. Under the scarf, you'll cast a little shadow. So a little wash of blue, and let's just do it down the side. This is sort of like a watercolory technique almost, because you can use your acrylics watered down to get a little watercolor effect, and we have painted a little bit with that sometimes here. So it's almost looking like watercolor. It is basically, water with color. So I just, instead of painting a harsh line, it was just a little bit of a wash. And you can let that dry. And then if it needs to be deepened a little bit or accented somewhere, you can always go again and do it. But right now we're going to let that dry. I do a little wash technique like that too, just with a little brown on the feet. I think his little nose is still a little wet. So let's do the wash in a minute and just give him some eyes. And I'm just going to simply make two little dotted eyes with the back end of that brush. Thank you, Pam. Hi, Rosie. A little bit just dipped right into my paint, and I'm just going to do two eyes. Simple, right? And you always need, I'll let it dry a bit, but remember, when you do eyes, people, animals, imaginary creatures, whatever, you want to do your eye, but you always want to put a little white highlight. Gives it that little bit of life, a little reflection off the eyeball. So when that dries, we'll do that still. Let's see where we are at time. We got loads of time. I always try to hurry along, and sometimes I need to, but other times I'm just in that mode, because we all have 45-minute segments here. So when you say, I wish I could do that too, but I just don't have time. we do all this in 45 minutes. So even take 20 minutes aside for yourself during the day and sit down in a little corner, and even if it's just sketch something or just start a little project, or even sometimes, you know, I find even just going into my little area and organizing things, and I get my brainstorms, and then I know next time, tomorrow, I have a few minutes, I'm going to sit down and do this. So it doesn't have to be a big commitment of time. You can take little bits and still get things done. So, hi Liz, Eileen, Lydia, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And, oh, little eyebrows. Again, it's a tiny little detail, and if it is a little bit scary, use a little fine tip Sharpie or something. I do thin my paint down a little more than usual when I'm doing detail, and I'm simply just going to give this little penguin 2 little eyebrows. And I'm going to do my second coat on that scarf. It looks very dark, so let's just get our pink, add a little white to it, make it a little more opaque, and I think that will cover for our scarf nicely. So let's just do, yeah, see that? Got it a little lighter. And I'm going to do the same thing with the brim of the knit hat. Just a little lighter. I'm still going to shade and highlight, and you'll see me doing that all the time, and I told you why. It gives us a little bit of a 3D look, form. But I'm still just base coating it in a minute. I will get a little highlight and a little shadow in there. Lisa, thank you. I love to create, and I love it with you guys here because it's kind of like I'm not working just by myself here in my studio, which I do a lot. So when I can invite you guys in and paint with you, I just love that. Hi, Daniela. So it's great that you're here, and I really appreciate it. All right, is that dry? That almost dry on the nose. So what I think I will do is give the blue, I wanted to put a little bit of blue on my penguin. It's very dark. It just needs a little something, so we're not going to do a lot. I'm going back into that blue I made, that light blue, and I'm just going to outline a little bit. So that maybe on the outside edge of, I don't want to get my hands in this, the outside edge here, just a little blue highlight, a little blue highlight. When I'm painting anything that's dark, especially black, like black when I'm painting anything, if I'm painting fur on a dog, hair on a person, anything, a penguin, your first thought is, I need to highlight that. Okay, I'll get a little white, and then it just looks gray. So your person looks old because they've got the gray hair, and the dog looks older than it should. I use a light blue to do the highlighting on anything that's black, and it just gives it more color, and it's just a nicer way to, even if it's just a tint of blue to it, but it just takes away from it looking gray. There's a little tip for painting things that are black. So I am really just going to kind of just do the edge. And I'm going to hold this up and show you. So I'm kind of just doing the edge. And I kind of want it to be more like that little watercolor technique. And so I could have done it with the wash on the flat brush, or here's another way to do it. I'm just putting it on where I want it. Well, that's a little bit not where I want it. So if I take a brush just with water on it, I can kind of remove that while it's wet. So now it's kind of like an outline. It doesn't look terrible though. It's a little bit of an outline, but I just want to smudge it a little bit and make it just look more like that wash we had. So I'll just take a little bit of a wet paint brush, and I'm going to just soften that a bit, just so it looks a little less like the outline, which again, outline might be the look you want. It doesn't really have to be just like mine at all. I think I did a little bit on the little middle section that's going to go up over the eyes. And it just gave it kind of a little bit more of a something, I guess. I'm going to put my little white dots in my eye. You'll see the difference. It just really comes alive with a little highlight, little white dots. And the trick to those is put them in the same position. So say you're looking at the eye and you're putting a little highlight at 2 o'clock, say. Do the other one at 2 o'clock too, so they're not looking like they're, I always say Marty Feldman eyes, but anyway, just a little highlight, that's all. Laurie's watching. Hello. Daniela says hello. Hello. Hi, Joy. Thank you guys for being here. Oh, I said I was going to give them a little belly button. Just a little washy, little half moon, little belly button. And, okay, so all we need to do, shade our feet and nose, which I think it's dry enough. I've used that technique to shade a lot. It's the wet paintbrush. I'm just wetting the brush, tapping it off a little. I don't want it soaking wet. Take a little of the color I want to shade with on the corner of the brush, just a tiny bit, right? Just on the corner, kind of tap it out, and can you see how it's going to give me a nice little shadow under the body on the feet? So I did that in one stroke, and it sort of blended a bit, so it's not a harsh line, which is kind of a nice technique to throw some quick shadows on things. I've just reloaded it, and I'm just going to do a little shadow on the outside of my nose. The important thing is when you take that tiny bit of color, is always just pat it out on your palette or somewhere, just so you don't have too much of it. And after you do it a while, you get the hang of how much to pick up on your brush. So it's just now a little brown on the outside edge of the nose and under the body on the feet. And then I'm going to just take a little bit of white or a light orange and highlight. So again, it's going to all make sense after a while, your shadows and your highlights. The nose is just going to be in the middle, because think of it, even though it's a little whimsical painting, here's the nose. The nose is shaped a little, so it's coming out at you a little bit. It's not just flat on the face. So the middle of the nose would be hitting the light. So in the middle, I just kind of dab a little bit of white. And so then it starts to take on a little shape now. On the feet, I'm just going to do that same thing, a tiny bit of white. And on the bottom of the feet, I'm just going to give a little highlight. Sometimes it's very subtle, and you might have even noticed it. But if it wasn't there, it would look very flat and not dimensional. I usually do this sort of thing with a flat brush. It's easier to just dip a corner in. Now, I did a little whitewash on the bottom of the feet. And it's hard to see because you're looking at a whitewash on a white paper. But remember, so if we're casting shadows places, where would there be a shadow now? There'd be a shadow underneath the penguin. So I'm not going to get into like the shadow that might be cast of the shape of the penguin, but I will put a little dark shadow under those little toes, which will bring that little white wash I just put on out a little bit. So if I get a little bit of that blue back, just like we did before, that's kind of a lot, so I'm really going to wipe a good bit off. And I just simply go right under the toes like this. It kind of plants him or her standing a little bit. Now you can kind of see that it's a little lighter on the tips of the toes. Oh, Milan, thank you. And hi, Barb. Thanks. Yeah, pretty cute little penguin. And you know what would be cute too is to write maybe a name or I love you or something in the balloon. The options are endless, and I think you guys would agree. Wouldn't you love to go to your mailbox and get an actual piece of mail someday, and never mind a card that a friend has, or for your grandchildren or kids or whatever? It would be a little treasure to get something like that, and we overlook that these days because we're always in a hurry, and we'll pop off an email or a text, and that's has its place, because I mean that's how we communicate a lot more with people we might not have. But I think it would be thrilling if you wanted to do that. Yeah, Charlotte, this guy was from last year, and I thought, oh, I wonder if everyone's going to remember, and I don't know if I did it on a segment here or in our membership. And then we're going to do this one. Charlotte's in my membership. We have a few members that always pop in here from my, I have an art membership called the Tinker's Cardists, and this is one we're going to all paint together next week. But it's really a fun group if you're interested in learning how to paint, or if you're a more advanced painter. We do all levels and all sorts of things. But the fun part is when we all get together by Zoom and paint. But everything's recorded too. So many people just don't have time for their Zooms, and they like to just sit in their studio and use the tutorials that way, which is kind of cool. Oh, I'm going to write that down. Milan, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Send me a message. If you send me a DM, that way I can just attach the tracer and send it back to you, so I'll remember. So anybody, if you want a little pattern for this, just send me a message, and that's easier for me to remember, first of all, because I will see it now, and in an hour I've forgotten. But if I have the message, I can pop it right back to you. So if you ever see me doing anything, or you go and watch something online that you find of mine and you need a tracer, please just let me know. It's super easy for me to do that. Let us give the decorative touches and the shading and highlighting to the hat and scarf now. I think we'll do that. And any questions you ever have, even if you're coming across a video like this, it's 6 months from now, still send a message and just let me know how you liked it, because that always makes me feel like you guys are watching, and it's really, you know, all of us creators put a lot of effort into everything because we love it, but it's so nice to know if it's something that you like or what would you like to see. Would you like to see something else sometime? So it's always fun that way too. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of a lighter pink on parts of my hat and scarf now. Again, the same two colors. I'm just mixing a little white with that pink. And I want to get my hat a little lighter in some places. If I try to do my shadows right now with the darker pink, it's the same color as the hat, so I'm not going to really see it. So I'm just going to emphasize my lights a little bit. And I want the tip of this hat brim to be lighter, so I'll go and do that a little white on the corner of my brush, pat it off. And I could almost in one stroke go across and get that a little lighter on the top. I want to emphasize it a little more, a little tiny bit more white, pat it down. And there we go. And same with the scarf. On the top, I'm kind of assuming the light source is above us, which generally is, you know, a lot of times is the case. So I've got my pink there, but I want to get it a little lighter. So I've got that white. And I'm going to put it towards the top then. So, and forgive me for painting upside down and getting it a little wonky maybe, but across the top of the scarf in that little knot, these little bits of the scarf that are kind of coming out there. Same thing, a little lighter at the top. Not perfectly done, but upside down it's not bad. And then I could go get a little darker on the other side if I want. Just take the darker pink and emphasize the bottom of that scarf. I can also say, okay, the knots, you know, a knot in the scarf would be a little heavier than this part of the scarf. I'll throw a little shadow there. This is going to be a little shadow too, behind this little knit brim. And I can even go a little lighter in the middle of that hat if I want to, just to make that. And you know what's nice too is because it's a knit hat, I could go and not worry about my strokes all being smooth. I could go and kind of even make it a little bit chunky looking. And we're going to go ahead and just add lines with the gel marker to make it look like a knit hat too. Oh, Kim, yeah, do that. That little mixed media piece, people have been sending me pictures of their projects completed, which I love to receive those, but you can DM them to me. But I love it if you share it too, because that helps us all get a little bit more eyes on our pieces. So if you're creating anything or inspired by anything, we'd love it if you posted it. So please share that. Charlotte, I think you asked me if it was cold. It was 40 something this morning. It's not cold to me, but it is a little chilly for Florida. So there we are. A lot of lights and darks today, a lot of shading and highlighting. So I'm showing you those. And we're going to do a little bit of work on top. See the little line work? Now you could, we have to do the little pom-pom. You could certainly leave it like this if you wanted. You could do a little pattern of hearts on the scarf and the hat. There's so many directions you could go in to take this little design and make it your own. But we're gonna let that dry one more minute, but I'm going to explain. I love this, it's a Signo brand Uniball gel pen. And I have to say, I've tried every marker, gel pen, and everything to do detail work on my watercolors or my acrylic paintings. Mixed media as well. This is the only one I found that really, I could take this white gel pen and write onto something dark, well, and it will show up. It's great. I have it in my little sketch kit and all that. Oh, I guess my gluing. I need to glue the key back on. But for instance, you want to just do a little something, like on this dark bit. If I want to do a little spiral, say. I'm doing it upside down, of course. But look at how well that writes right over that little bit of a darker background. So I find these in in with the scrapbooking stuff usually, the markers and things. But I'll tell you, this is a really good one, and you'll see how nice it's going to work on the pieces here. So let's make our pom-pom next. So I'm going to just start dark, go to light, which is how I paint a lot. If you watch me paint, you guys, you've seen me. I start background work forward, dark to light, whether it's my big pieces for the art shows or if it's a whimsical little piece like this. And I wish I had my stuff within grabbing distance because I have a lot of I'm doing a new series for the spring art fairs called Under the Sea. And I use the gel pens and different things in those a lot. And if Of course, I don't want to go off camera. I don't want to try to reach, but maybe we have plenty of time. Let's finish this and I'll show you. I'm also going to grab this and show you after because it's a piece I'm recording now for the members, but I use the pen in it a lot, and wait till you see how cool it works out. So let's just do the pom-pom. So where I say dark to light, I'm going to the darkest pink first. And I'm just, for this, we want to kind of be like a pom-pom. We're just going to kind of make just little strokes like that. That's going to be our little pom-pom. But I start darkest. And you can wait till it dries and do a lighter pink, or you can just, if I take white right now, because it'll mix with the wet pink, it will be a medium shade of pink. So you don't really have to wait for it. I'm trying to get just on my messy palette here a white, I've got blue mixed in with my white. But so I'm taking white now, and on paper it does dry pretty fast. So that might almost, it's pretty dry. And it just kind of, now it's just another shade of pink, just kind of on top of that darker shade. Hi, Gwen. Hi, Kim. Hi, Kim. Thank you. Yeah, penguins are really fun. I love painting little whimsical creatures, as you will see in my Under the Sea series. So if you check out my page, you'll be seeing some of those paintings come to life. So that's kind of cool. And I'm still can go get a brighter white as this is dry if I go with the gel pen on it too. So while we're waiting for this to dry and we'll do the gel pen, I did have a little fringe on my scarf. And an easy way to make that little fringe is you can use a toothpick, or you can use the back end of your brush or a stylus, just to make little dots to start with. So I'm just going to take the darker pink, and along the tails of the scarf, I'm just going to go and make some dots. So that's how I start for my little fringe, just some dots. And then a little thin brush, I'm just going to bring some little tails down, just like we did these little strokes on the pom-pom of the hat there. And it's just little line work, little strokes. I could stop and just do them in the dark pink, but I always like to add one more thing. So I'll take a little white, the middle shade of pink it will turn out to be, and just do a few of those little lines as well. I'm going to hold this up close for you too, so don't worry. And then just a little dot of white on the circles, just, it's more of like a little decorative thing for no reason, but just instead of those dark dots hanging out, I just kind of popped a little white onto them. So there is that. And I should scroll. For some reason, sometimes on my computer here, I don't see all the comments pop up. But I go through them later, so I'd love to see if you have any questions I can answer. I know this is pretty straightforward and simple, so it probably doesn't have a lot of questions. But, okay, I think it's dry enough to go right onto our hat and scarf and make the little detailing. It's just important that it's dry. Even if you were going on with a paint marker, because like I said, you can do a lot with the Posca. Paint markers are great. There's actually paint in the barrel. And so, again, those, you don't ever want to go and add a detail on top of something painted until that paint is good and dry, because it will seize up your marker if you get a little bit of moisture in the original paint still. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Suzanne. Thank you guys for all being here. So, this is the little gel pen I told you about. It's just pretty easy to find, Uniball, Signo company, I guess. And I'm going to do just a simple design on the scarf. I'm going to start and just do stripes. So it's simple. It's just like you were writing. You just put your stripes on. Now on a scarf, something like this, you can see I started a little bit curved. I get a little straighter, and then I'll just start to curve to get the shape of the scarf. Pretty simple. You could make thicker stripes if you wanted. It covers beautifully, like I say. And so we'll just give our scarf some stripes. And this one might be getting a little low because it's sometimes skipping. You can kind of see in the barrel, and you can tell when it's getting a little low. When I do my sketching, I do a lot of sketching, a little tiny sketchbook. And I'll ink it out first with a little fine point marker. And then I just watercolor in real quick. It'll be on location, just quick little sketches, but I love going in later with this and adding my white highlights. Because if you do any kind of watercolor or anything like that, you have to really save those whites or mask those whites out before you paint. This is great to go back in and add some little things you might have lost, some little highlights and whatnot. I did a little more busy work on the hat because I made it look a little, see the little shape like it's a knit with the rose. Do you have to do it that busy? No, you can just do polka dots, you could do hearts, you could do anything, but I'm going to just show you how I did this one. So I just started with lines, just like we did on the scarf. I'm just going to space them out a little bit so that I can have room to put those little like hash marks, those little, looks like little arrows almost. So I'm just going to bring those in, but giving myself a little space. And now we're going to just make a few here. And then it's just these little hash marks. Like I said, it's almost like arrows. You see what I'm sort of doing there? Just little decorative touches. You could do two little penguins with the little heart balloon between them. And again, you can do personalization. You could write on that heart with this white pen anything that you wanted. Sometimes I like this little busy work though, you know. A lot of times I'm painting big, huge canvases and those are great fun, but sometimes it's nice just to sit down and do some little things. I'll have to show you, I think I've showed you, but I've not done a segment, I don't think, on them of the little, I take vintage dominoes and I paint on them and they're teeny, but they are really fun. Although I don't know if I have done a segment because I feel like it's, how are you going to see them? They're so teeny. Anyways, let's think this might be done except for signing my name. So there we are. You could even put, he's got room. I did the scarf differently. Can you see how this guy's scarf comes down on his body and this one's out there? So I could be a perfect way to put a little heart on his chest. And I'll show you how to make simple little two-stroke hearts if you want to put them as a little decorative touch someplace. They're pretty easy. We're winding down, so we've got about 4 minutes. So I want to remind you that there's another creator coming right up after me. Sometimes I wait to see and I don't see them. What it is just refresh your page. Sometimes you have to just refresh your page to get that to go. So I'm just going to make a little heart here, but then I'm going to show you how I do those little strokes because it's a simple little two-stroke heart, which could very well have been used in white, say, on the scarf and hat if you wanted to have just a little heart pattern. If you wanted to have a little dot pattern, you could just use the back end of your brush. I would sign my name here. I would write or stamp a little message inside. And like I said, if you missed it in the beginning, these come in packs. I thought it was 25, this is 50, and cards and envelopes. And you could use many ways to decorate them. So, so that's our finished guy. What do you guys think? You might want to start painting. It doesn't have to just be for Valentine's Day. It could be for birthdays. So that little two-stroke heart. You could use a small flat brush. I'm going to do it with my round, which I happen to have right here. I'm just going to take my paint, load the brush up good. Actually, you know, I'm going to do it with a big brush so you can actually see it. So let me go with the flat brush. That's so teeny. So I'm going to just load the brush up with some of the dark pink so you can see it. I'm going to try to do it upside down. It might be a fail, but I want to show you the technique. So I just take and press the brush one stroke here and one stroke here, and it kind of makes a heart. And that's upside down, so my tail's a little wonky, but it really is just, and you do the same thing with that tiny brush to get a tiny, tiny one. It's just press that on your brush, kind of bring it down and chisel edge, and then over here the opposite. So why I like a flat brush really is look at I can get a nice wide line with it, but if I go ahead and just use the chisel edge, I can get a thin line. So versatile. So I do use my flat a lot, but you could make those little hearts, like if you were doing a little overall pattern, you could go into town and just do a bunch of those. This is actually, it's repelling off this plate, but you get the idea. So we've a couple of minutes left, you guys. I didn't go over and I didn't ramble right up to the last minute, but I do appreciate you guys all being here. And let me show you what I'm recording now. Oh, because I wanted to show you how I use the gel pen, and we have like a minute. So this is what I'm just recording for the group. They're going to get this tutorial later. I know it looks super busy, but it's basically blocking in all your colors. Quick little figures. They're done easily by shapes. All the windows and all the details were done with that gel pen. So that's pretty cool. It goes really fast, and it's more enjoyable than with your brush. So this is really a fun little winter painting, speaking of it being cold everywhere. And the people in this, we're all going to freehand, and members that are here watching me now, don't freak out, because you know they're just shapes. Their little bodies are a triangle, a blob for a head, 2 sticks for legs. There you go. You got a cute little folk arty, whimsical scene. So that's what I just in the middle of recording that. Took a break to paint with you guys, and am thrilled that you all turned up. We'll do another Valentine's painting next week too. So I'm going to go off. I'm going to see you all next week. Have a great week. Thank you all. Bye.